I think the unique experiences that I've had interacting with diverse people with like backgrounds in Singapore is just how diverse and different everyone is. Sometimes you kind of just take a step back and realize that not a lot of countries can experience the amount of like multiculturalism that we have. Personally, I moved to Singapore when I was 5 years old. Um, and so I kind of got used to integrating into the Singapore style. But I feel like even so, even like the 5 years and like my parents' background in Indonesia, like it really shaped the way that they brought us up, which was I think quite different from how Singapore is like as well. So for example, like cultural wise, I feel like one of the big thing in Singapore is like meritocracy and like there's a lot of like tiger moms in here, which from my experience, I feel like I don't really see or experience as much with like Indonesian families. I'm not sure if it's just the people that I'm observing from my family and like my extended family, but my parents personally are very relaxed when it comes to our education. Like, of course, like my dad will really be um, fierce or like stricter about like one subject like math just because he likes it, but like academic wise, he always has this try your best mentality. My mom as well, which I feel like is not as common in Singapore. So I feel like in that sense, sometimes because there is such a big thing in Singapore when I navigate through friendships, like with this mentality, it's sometimes different because my friends will tell me like, oh, like it's such a norm that parents put a lot of stress on their children in Singapore, so that when I kind of face these kind of situations, like, oh, let's hang out, but then like, oh, my parents asking me to study, that kind of thing, I just thought that was a bit like interesting, I guess, when it comes to interacting with people in Singapore. But yeah, and I think another thing is, um, I went to like for my primary school, so I had like I had to repeat K1 and K2 in Singapore because I came in like after graduating K1 in Indo. So like to like transfer to Singapore is a bit different. But I went to like kindergarten in Singapore, primary school in Singapore, and then like a semi-government, semi-international, I guess, because I went to an art school for my secondary and JC years. And I feel like even though it is quite a lot of like diverse people, it is still predominantly, I think, Chinese. And I feel like my name is very Indonesian Chinese. So like I think that's one thing also, people will think that I'm unique when they see my name, which is quite funny because in Singapore you'll think because everyone is so diverse, they wouldn't really be as shocked with my name. But it's like because even though Singapore is diverse, like we are still like I think Indonesians are more to the minority. Yeah. I think like food wise, I feel like the good thing about Singapore is like how many different foods that you can try. Like I definitely have made friends from a lot of different cultures, and getting to know like their food is also getting to know them and their backgrounds, which I think is always super nice. And I love when I'm able to kind of get my friends to come over to my house and then have them try my mom's cooking. Likewise, me going to their house and trying their parents' cookings, which are always so different. And I think that's just really fun and interesting. I feel like food is a way to kind of get to know people's backgrounds as well. Yeah, cultural wise, I feel like Singapore is so multi-diverse that Singapore's culture is the fact that it is made out of so many different people's culture. Um, but yeah, I feel like sometimes growing up here, like I'll hear people talking about like the culture of Singapore, or like Singapore's culture, especially when it was with, like Malaysia and stuff, and I could like kind of recognize some parts to be similar to Indonesia as well. Oh, I had because I was from an art school and I went to like there was like a music program, like there was a huge part on gamelan, which was very fun because it was very like it was learning more about my culture, but with surrounded by people who aren't of my culture, which is interesting because you can do that in Singapore, I guess. Yeah, like it was very fun, and just like during history classes as well, I'll get to learn more about Indonesia, but in the Singapore context, and having like a lot of people beside me who weren't of the same culture but learning the same thing as I do. I think, I don't know, like learning about my history with other people. I think that's just unique in Singapore, just being able to have that diversity and having people around you. Yeah. I think that those are all my unique experiences interacting with people from diverse backgrounds in Singapore. Thank you.